texts are already rolling in, and people are already looking ahead to the offseason here with the Rockets, and they've got a fairly substantial to-do list, even if you didn't feel like they need to go out and sign a player. They've got guys that same decisions they're making on extensions for Jaylen Green and Alperen Şengün last year. They're, at least I would imagine, having discussions about what the future looks like with Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason. This time next year, Amen Thompson will be the topic about an extension, all those things. It happens fast, man. Comes at you quick. Kevin Durant is a topic today, Seth. And you and I were talking about KD earlier. The people still seem very split on the text page when we bring up KD, although it's not nearly the deluge of no. I mean, I think people watch these games. It was a tough watch offensively for this team, whether it's late in games and you just need a guy to go get a bucket, or you need a shooter out there for the general ebb and flow of the full game to loosen things up a little bit. Kevin Durant does seem to address some of those needs. This is how I phrase the Twitter poll. Pender poll for Rocket fans. After this series loss to the Golden State Warriors, are you more, less, or the same when it comes to wanting Kevin Durant on the Rockets?
Okay. Oh, this is a tough one. Yeah. All right. Because I think people were pretty split beforehand. Maybe more so people were more negative about just, hey, let's see what we have with this. Let's see what we have with these guys first.
Yeah.
So they're negative on Kevin Durant.
And again, keep in mind, same might mean like
exactly. I think a majority, and it would be a slight majority right now, want Kevin Durant specifically, but there's going to be way more people that were ambivalent before but now want him. So I'm going to say 62% say that they want him more now than they did before Game 1.
Okay, that's interesting. No, the answer, and I'll need a buzz here, Colin, if I could. Do you have the buzz sound effect in there? All right, never mind. There's buzz sound effect.
I screwed up the simple math on that already. Okay, I was wrong. I overshot it.
No, that's not the buzz. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's actually, there's a tie between wanting him more and wanting him the same, and it's 35% each. 30% want him less. Like, this thing is split almost three ways right now with Kevin Durant.
Yeah. That was a really simple exercise that I screwed up. I shouldn't have said as high as I did for people that wanted him more. So the people that want him the same, I guess the tough thing is, okay, are those how many of those people still don't want him or still do want him? Mm-hmm. So it didn't change that much for anything, I guess.
Well, I mean, a third of the people look in a potential move that I feel like a lot of people are against. Yeah. A third of the people are saying, all right, that this series has at least increased the chances of them wanting Kevin Durant.
Yeah. I think that this is how I look at it. Yeah. I think that all of the young guys that we've talked about that showed promise in this playoff series, which is really pretty much everybody except Jaylen Green, that played substantial minutes, I see where, all right, you know what? They got some playoff experience, and I like the mettle that they showed. Amen Thompson especially. Games 1 through 4 didn't look like himself. Games 5 through 7, oh yeah, that's what I want.
That's it.
Şengün defensively great, offensively did some good things. Too inefficient in a lot of ways, and he himself after the game talked about how he needs to improve. So I look at it almost I feel like you have the places in peace and the guys that can grow, but you also want to capture what you have right now and almost like it's quantitative easing. Let's add something else to the mix that can give you scoring immediately as all of those other young guys continue to develop. And then it doesn't have to be something that's a 2 or 3 year process. It can start right now. Yeah. And yes, at the same time, if Cam Whitmore is still on the team, he's going to move. Jabari Smith Jr., he's going to improve. Amen Thompson certainly is just on the right track. And you have the assets to do it. So I would love to have Kevin Durant on this team.
Yeah, of the young guys, you laid out that the 5 young guys that really matter in terms of the immediacy, because Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore, there's nothing you can look at this series and go, I feel better or worse about that guy. I guess I feel worse because I would have loved to have seen them get in, and especially Reed Shepherd might have been able to come in and knock down a few shots for you. But whatever. So putting those guys aside, the 5 young guys that homegrown, you drafted, played in this series, the only one I feel worse about after that series, and had his moments, but he had some brain fart moments too. The only one I feel worse about is Jaylen Green. Like that series, I don't know how you can come out of that series feeling anything but worse about what Jaylen Green. Like his performance was below the line to where you can write it off as youth. Yeah. He looked lost out there. He looked better. He looked plugged in defensively. I will give him that. The effort was there defensively, but like offensively, other than game 2, he looked lost out there, and just dribbling into crowds and, couldn't handle a lot of what Steve Kerr and the Warriors were throwing at him. The other 4, Amen Thompson, I've always been a huge Amen Thompson guy, so Amen Thompson, you feel great about. Alperen Şengün, there's certain elements that I was very critical of in terms of his ability to finish around the rim or in the lane or in the paint. That stands, that criticism, but I feel like Alperen Şengün, I saw enough in this series to where I feel good about what future Şengün is going to look like. And then Jabari and Tari are role players on this team who did some good. I thought Jabari should have got more minutes in this series. So,
yeah. And especially when it comes to Game 7 when your offense is just not working and you can't get a shot off at some point. And it's at no point in that game, despite them reeling it in a few times, did you feel like they had it working the way they wanted to work? No. That's when I wish Udoka would have, I don't know, maybe he would have felt like it was too much of a desperation move or what have you, but get some shooters in there somehow, some way. Yeah. Maybe your defense will falter a little bit, but issue was you've got to score points.
Yeah, I thought there were 2 points in the game last night, Seth, where I was like, oh, that point hurt. One of them was Buddy Hield's three-pointer at the buzzer at the end of the first quarter. Like you had worked your way back into that game. Jaylen had just made an and one to make it 19-17 Rockets, and he misses the free throw. The Warriors come back down, hit a 3 to go up 20-19, and then Buddy Hield hits a circus 3 from midcourt to make it honestly, I get it, it's the end of the first quarter, but in a low-scoring game like that, for it to be 2019 or for it to be 23-19 instead of 2019 at the end of one just bothered me. The other point where they had in the second half, they came out at halftime. They were down by whatever it was, 8 or 10 at the half, and came out at halftime, and they were down by 15 at one point in the third quarter, and they'd whittled it all the way down to 63-60 with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. So you kind of got the Warriors playing in the muck with you. It's a game that's being played in the low 60s late in the third quarter, and they had a chance to cut it to 1 or even tie the game, and the shot they got was like a contested Jabari Smith baseline J from 17 with the shot clock running. They started doing that thing again where they initiate the offense with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, guys, they were even saying it on the broadcast, like, guys, you got to go here. Like, you got to get moving. And so the Warriors immediately go on a 12-2. You get it down to 3. You got a chance to sit, and then the Warriors go on a 12-2 run after that. Like, that was demoralizing at the end of the third.
The closest they got in terms of win probability was with 2 minutes and 43 seconds left in the third when it was 63-60.
Jabari hit a 3 to make it 63-60, and then 40 seconds later was the sequence I was talking about there. That's where it felt like, okay, they got the home crowd behind them. They're into it. You feel like, boy, they haven't even played really good offense, and here they are within 3. And that was when Steph had started to figure some things out too. That was when you're like, wow, they've weathered this Buddy Hield storm. Buddy Hield was 6 for 7 from 3 at that point, and now you got it down to 3 with the ball, and you come away taking a bad shot, and then they go on a 12-2 run.
No, and I'll tell you honestly, at that point, it was a Houston, before, with 1:11 left in the first, it was a Houston 53% win probability. By the end of that quarter, that Buddy Hield shot was that's where everything, it never felt genuinely close really after that.
Those were the two sequences in the game that felt like it's a game where each team's possessing the ball 100 times. Those were two that I felt really acutely. The Buddy Hield 3 at the end of the first, and then when the Rockets cut it to 63-60 and had the ball, and they don't get a good shot, and even worse, they allow a 12-2 run by the Warriors that closed out the third and continued into the fourth. So just a bad night.
So many missed shots in the paint, and that's the missed opportunity there. And that's where I think Şengün was hard on himself after the game, and with doing a great job with their zone and making it difficult, but there's just too many point blank shots that they missed. And in the series, you look at some of the close games, it was the easy stuff that even for a bad shooting team, it feels like, man, they really just relinquished some opportunities. That's where the playoff experience hopefully makes a difference next year.
If they had won yesterday, would we be coming in talking about them exercising the Warrior demons, or would we have felt more like, no, this is just a new Rockets crew? And I mean,
it would have been, in a way, I don't know if it would have been exercising the demons. I think it might have been kind of putting the veil or the curtain, like closing the curtain on the Warriors.
Maybe, yeah.
And what they have been for the last decade or so.
We would have gotten sad Draymond and sad Steph sitting on the bench at some point. You know, they won by like 10.
Steph's kid would have been miserable.
Yeah.
A lot of people were kind of apologetically hoping that Steph's kid was miserable against last night. After Game 6, Steph Curry's kid didn't want to talk to him.
Oh, really?
He was very upset about that loss.
Wow.
Yeah, Steph walked off the floor and was trying to talk to his
Really?
cute little kid who's like 5 years old or so. Yeah.
Okay.
The kid's got the competitiveness in him. He's got the genes. Yeah.
All right, here's an interesting take. I think Jaylen Green is a very talented athlete, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't think he puts in the work to take his game to another level like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant do. When Kobe Bryant had a series of air balls in a playoff game against the Jazz in 1997, this fueled his determination to improve his skill, and he went to work. He was consistently in the gym working on his game. I don't think Jaylen has that wrong of that, but I strongly believe that because there's no evidence that says otherwise. I don't hear any comments about his work ethic.
Well, yeah, it's not like people are gushing or lauding it or anything, but these guys all work. These guys all NBA players put in a lot of time, and they play in the summer. They play year round and everything. Yes. But I don't think that's yes. If we need to compare, okay,
Kobe?
Yes, I know. That's what bothers me. I don't need him to have a Kobe level of preparation. I need him to have I'd like him to have a James Harden level of preparation or work or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Why do people treat? We need to stop this disease of expecting Jaylen Green to be some kind of superstar. That is not there. It's just flat out, yes, everything you said about him not measuring up to Kobe or Michael Jordan, why are you setting the bar up there?
Yeah.
I want him to have the same level. I'd like him to be at Doncic level.
No.
I'm joking. Compared to any of the top 20 players in the NBA, where is that same fire, that same drive, or any of the intangibles? Right, it's not there. So to even bring up Kobe or to bring up Michael Jordan, it's disrespectful to those guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Yes. You're 100% right. He doesn't have that same level, just like 99% of other NBA players. I want him to get up to the level of genuine all-stars.
Well, it's just funny to me, just because you don't hear about how he works, you make an assumption about how he works. Just going to assume that he's not in there putting it. I mean, the guy literally says, I don't think he's got the drive to be great. How the hell do you know what kind of drive he has? The one thing I'll say about Jaylen is one of the few stars who will, and maybe I'm using the term star a little too loosely now. Jaylen answers the bell. Jaylen will go play. Jaylen plays hard. It may be, though, that just based on what his skill set is, there's a ceiling on what exactly he can be for a good NBA team. I mean, can he be the best player on a championship-level team? We are so far into hell no right now. We are so far onto the map of that in hell no territory.
Yeah.
So I mean
there's all kinds of stories about him going back to the gym after to shoot extra and everything. That's where it's just, and I'm not. Yes, it's okay to question anybody's preparation depending on when they're not showing results. It's just it's more than that. It's like at the end of the day, you don't have to overly complicate things. The guys. He just flat out did not show up, and he looked like a deer in the headlights at times. And the consistency improved this year throughout the regular season. But it's it's this old myth or belief that somehow, it's not like Michael Jordan's work ethic alone is what made him one of the best basketball players of all time.
Right.
There is a talent component there, too.
Well,
there are lots. You know what? There's lots of guys who worked just as hard as Michael Jordan who never made it in the NBA.
Yeah.
There's more to it than just the 10,000 hours isn't some unattainable standard. It's a prerequisite.
Mm-hmm.
lots of people think and don't end up being the absolute best of all time.
Yeah, I guess put it succinctly for Jaylen, there are holes in his game. I don't think effort is one of them. I don't think work ethic is one of them. Like I think the fact that he's not really a pure shooter. He's a guy who can knock down threes, but he's not a guy that scares you shooting threes. I think he loses his head sometimes on the court just in terms of making strange decisions when he's pressing a little bit. I think we saw that a lot in this series, especially early on when things weren't, other than game 2, when things weren't going well, he would drive to the rim, get his shot blocked, he'd turn the ball over. The beginning of that one game where he was just careless with the ball for 3 straight possessions in the first minute of the game, those are the types of things. So, all right, keep texting in. Jaylen is always in the gym. They report that he works hard. Thank you, texter.
It's not even. That's where it's just it's an oversimplification sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really, really hard to be an awesome basketball player.
Yep.
And you can do everything you're supposed to be doing, and it doesn't mean that that's what turns it for you.
That's
like
right.
with Jaylen, there's something more than does he works. And yes, I have no doubt that he works as hard as a lot of players who are better than him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that now 4 years into it, his age is less of an excuse. And some of the things that showed up in this series, you just start to wonder, all right, maybe it's just not there with him.
Well, and you can't just write it off to youth as easily when there's 4 other guys who are in your age bracket who didn't and downs. But Jaylen looked overwhelmed in that series. None of the other 4 guys, Tari, Jabari, Amen, and Alperen Şengün, none of them looked overwhelmed to me to the degree that Jaylen was.
Amen Thompson is a perfect indication of a young guy, in his second year who looked a little bit like he was getting his feet underneath him in the first 4 games, and then comes out in games 5, 6, and 7, and he's classic Amen Thompson. Like all of that you could see the dog in him.
Yes.
And it's just. Yeah, we saw the 38-point performance, but then 6 games of, I don't want to say absolute nothingness, because there was he had good moments, but it still wasn't the straw that stirs the drink moments.
No. He scored 38 in a game in a 7-game series and averaged 13 a game for the series. You know what I mean? That's hard to do. It's hard to do when you have the ball in your hands that much.